Hello there, I'm Jamie, and I'm going to tell you all about Scars Above. Scars Above is a bit of a throwback to the glory days of AA gaming, and a much better example than recent review Wanted Dead. On the one hand, we've got some decent presentations, some well-rounded gameplay mechanics. On the other, a few hamstrung ideas that don't quite serve the purpose we'd imagine they're there for. This didn't stop us enjoying our time with it, but it falls just short of that next level. We play as scientist Kate as she and her small crew of Scars investigate the Metahedron, a huge object that appeared in space above the Earth one day. After a short setup scene, their ship approaches the Metahedron only to be seemingly transported to an alien planet. Kate awakes to find her crew missing and must find out the who, what, why, when and how of her situation. While we're unlikely to be watching HBO's Scars Above anytime soon, the story told here is done so effectively, with some passable acting and writing throughout. Lead Kate does a good job of keeping us informed via her thoughts, as well as commenting on new discoveries made, and while it's fairly predictable, developers Madhead Games throwing a few small curveballs here and there to keep us guessing at where things are going. What really won me over though was the gameplay. Played on the default difficulty, the second of three options, initially things are quite tough. There's an element, though it really is only an element, of the Souls style here. With a stamina meter that only lets us melee or dodge roll 2 or 3 times before tiring, saving progress at checkpoints refills our health and ammo but also respawns all enemies, and the flow of combat is much more measured than the out and out action game. Crucially though, this is nowhere near as punishing as those titles. Granted, early on we died a few times, but we never felt that crushing weight of being repeatedly beaten down over and over. Part of this is thanks to a focus on gunplay rather than melee. As we mentioned, early on we died quite a lot, though this is mainly down to how weak Kate's melee is. Once we're given our first offensive weapons, things become much better.
Throughout Scars Above, we're given 4 weapon types to use that boil down to electricity, fire, poison and ice. Part of what we enjoyed about this quadruplet is how they interacted with each other in the environment. An enemy currently standing in water or frozen with ice will take bonus damage when hit with electricity, while combining fire and acid attacks can offer explosive results. It's not much more complicated than that, but it also doesn't really need to be. Enemies all have weak points that these different elements counter, though we also have a few other tricks up our sleeve. Gadgets allow us to turn the tide even more in our favour. From a simple shield through pools of flammable liquid or bubbles of time dilation. These prove useful for tougher baddies that might otherwise get the best of us. We can also refill our health, battery meter, a resource used for gadgets, and ammo using fibre. This resource can be found throughout the world and can be consumed at any time. Between all of this, there's a nice feel to the combat that kept us entertained from start to finish. Boss battles are where we'll need to use these the most, but even the occasional big bad that pops up surprisingly will take a good use of our abilities to beat. It's here that things start to feel a bit underwhelming, should we say. The last power we gained is the ability to stop time for all enemies, letting us run around the back ready for a surprise attack. However, when I use this, the enemies instantly snap back to face me as soon as it ran out, making it feel quite redundant, especially when the throwable slowdown bubble gadget we have does a much better job of making this a viable tactic. Elsewhere, the crafting system is somewhat misnamed. In reality, it's a simple way to present upgrades as we find them. There's no harvesting resources to make things that we need outside of the fibre use I've mentioned previously. Mainly we find an upgrade for a weapon, and the portable crafting table that we carry around just pops up, forcing us to hold a button to apply the upgrade, and then we're off again. Likewise with things with health pickups and chests. It's presented as though we're picking up an item to use later on, when in reality they're consumed there and then. They're far from experience ruining aspects, but it feels as though they could have been utilised that bit more and perhaps fleshed out somewhat. The final nitpick is in the upgrades we can apply to Kate directly. She has a decent sized tree of abilities to unlock via XP gain from scanning enemies and picking up XP orbs. However, I maxed this out before the final chapter without really trying too hard, and ended the game with at least 9 points left over that I was unable to use. It just felt like there was one more tree or one more ability waiting to be found and unlocked to make use of them, but it just never came. Don't let these downers put you off though, because while a few tweaks could have seen it reach the next level, what we get within Scars Above is a fun, challenging adventure that we could quite happily have seen stretch out for more hours above our 11-hour playtime. The use of various offensive elements that can be combined is great, while the gadgets generally are good to use as well. Wrapped up in a world that feels vast and without actually being too big, this is a solid title for those looking for a challenge over the course of a few evenings. If you'd like to see the final verdict on xboxtavern.com, feel free to head over there, link will be below. I appreciate you watching / reading, and we'll catch you on the next one.